Orange Podcast Bad Episode 4. We've got Edward with us finally. Good to see you, Edward. How you doing?
Hey, nice to see you guys as well. Glad I could finally make it.
Right? It took, what, 3 weeks to get whatever that bug was unlocked? We still
You
don't
see
know
how slow I
exactly what it
am?
was.
Well, it's the Canadian way of doing things, so that's why.
It's probably because I sent the password to you through Signal. That's my guess.
Yeah. It was Signalgate. That's exactly what happened up here. We're all on it. Yeah.
I mean, it was. I set it with the full plans for world domination and everything. So,
You weren't far off.
Whoopsie. So, all right, Signalgate, right? There's a Signals. It's a messaging app. It's a secure messaging app. It was approved by the Biden administration to be used by government officials as long as it wasn't on a cell phone. So it was on an iPad or it was on a laptop. And a group gets set up, and what was it? A staffer went ahead and added Goldberg, the chief editor over there at the Atlantic. Yeah, go ahead, jump in, Paul.
Yeah, I would like to say that Walt said today that he was setting up the space in that the icon was a JG, and he thought the JG was, I don't want to say staffer, but it was one of the associates of Pete Hegseth. That was like Jeff Goldblum or something like that. And he clicked on that and he took responsibility for it, that it ended up being this idiot from the Atlantic. But he thought when he was adding him, he was adding in Hegseth, not number 2, but maybe number 3 or a support person who could, keep track of what was going on and stuff.
Yeah.
He admitted that this afternoon.
And I believe it. We've talked about this a couple days ago. It's so easy with all these whether it's emails or chat groups, or to add the wrong person. It happens. If you haven't done it, you will do it at some point in time. It's a mistake.
Dude, I've done it. Working in the defense industry, I've put together a Teams call where I was going to eviscerate a teaming partner, and I inadvertently added the teaming partner, and they were like, "Really? That's how you feel about us?" And I'm like, "Ruh-roh!"
Yeah. Ruh-rohs.
That's awesome. So they continued on with the contract, though, right?
Yeah.
Mistakes happen. Right. So, all right. So, a guy from the Atlantic gets added. So it's an embarrassment. They've admitted they made a mistake. They'll remove him from further groups, right? And I swear, like clockwork, all of the Democrat. Is that the police again? I keep hearing.
Oh, is that my fan going again?
Sounds like the police are showing up at your door. Oh,
what's going on?
I don't know.
How come that's going on again? I don't know. I don't get it.
So they admitted the mistake, right? They said, "Yeah, we screwed up. There was nothing top secret in there." Did it say where they were going to strike? Did it say who they were going to strike? Did it say where the aircraft were launching from? No. Now, would it have been known by all those gentlemen? Probably, in that chat room, except for Goldberg. But they're all out there like clockwork with the exact same statement on their posts, right? That Pete Hegseth was drunk again and must resign. This is a national security risk.
Sean, can you absolutely believe the chutzpah of that fucking of that congressman to say, hey, Tulsi, do you think that Pete might have been drunk? And then same question to you, Director Ratcliffe. Do you think he could have been drunk? And Ratcliffe was like, I've got so much of this in my pockets that I'm gonna do this to you. And he goes, I want to reclaim my time. I'm gonna reclaim my time. You little 5'5" piece of shit.
Right?
You know. Mm, 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 mm.
Are you talking, Edward?
Sorry, yeah. Who was saying that? Reclaim my time. What guy was saying that?
One of the congressmen on the
It
committee.
was one of the congressmen in that
subcommittee.
The thing, a Hispanic guy, about this tall, and he's like, well, could it be? And then Edward, he referenced Hegseth having a drink in his hand at a UN thing that he was giving a speech.
United Nations?
Bottled water. It was, easily shown that it was bottled water. And he said, well, Hegseth was known to have a drink in his hand when he was addressing the UN and this, that, the other thing. Are you kidding me, dude?
It's just all flat out lies. And the videos that they have of that, they manipulated the color of it to turn the water into like a tannish brown.
They did, yeah. So how are they not held accountable for that egregious bullshit? That's what I don't get.
Well, they have immunity from it. They can say whatever they want when they're on the floor. Yeah, it would be no different than a cop lying to you to get you to admit you've been drinking and driving. That's the level of immunity they have.
Yep, that's the same United Nations I'm familiar with. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh. Right, but it's just blatant lies, absolute blatant lies. Right? I have heard so many people. That have met Hegseth and said, yeah, or I went and did an interview on Fox and Friends in the morning or whatever that show he was doing on Saturday morning. He goes, I never once suspected that he was a drinker. I was like, if he goes out, and they'd say if he goes out and he has a few drinks at night,
yeah.
Who cares? I never suspected that at 5 a.m. when we're recording that he had any level of intoxication whatsoever.
What are you calling a drinker, by the way? Like, how do you define that term? Like, one drink a day? Like, what is...
I ask, well, you just muted yourself again. I ask, what is, what is Kamala Harris? What is Nancy Pelosi? You don't have a problem with drinkers.
Yeah, now that's just full-blown alcoholism right there, and so yeah, not even the same league.
Adam Kinzinger with his bloated face.
Who? Who was that?
Adam Kinzinger.
Adam Kinzinger. Oh.
When he goes and makes his little videos for the internet,
baby.
And he just looks like he got hit by a fifth of Jack the night before. God. Yeah, so they really care. They really care about drinking, huh? Right? This is just gross, though. It's a nothing burger, and the only reason we're talking about it is because they have nothing else. They can't talk about their policy, or they can't admit why they lost. So all they can do is sling arrows over dumb things.
Are they still talking about that? Why they lost? Are they even going to entertain that again?
They're never gonna. They're never gonna talk. They're never going to talk about that because they would have to admit what they did wrong.
Which is it's just not what they did wrong. They just went down the wrong road. They just lost their minds.
But if they admit that right, and if they say that we were doing it wrong, right, they just can't do that. It's never going to happen. Which is why they're out there doubling down and trying to pass bills at the state level now to reverse Trump's executive order on transgenders in sports.
Yeah. They're not about to assume any blame for any wrongdoing or any of that. So yeah, it's blame, blame, blame. It's got to be somebody else's fault. Yeah. Oh God.
Because right, admitting they lost means that they'd have to admit that they were wrong. That's not what the American people want.
Right. Exactly right. Yeah.
Going back to the Atlantic again.
Yeah.
Do you guys even? It's just a magazine. Did you guys know anything about that?
Yeah.
That Dish Rag magazine that they publish and thinking it's some, beacon of truth or hope or something. I don't even know why it's even still in publication. It's a junk news rag.
No,
it's mostly online too.
It's the East Coast Elite
No.
magazine.
No.
Yes.
So
I get you now.
It's the East Coast Elite version of Southern Living magazine. You know what I mean? And all they the thing is, Edward, they got away from like Southern Living has 3 or 4 Thanksgiving layouts and they show 4 or 5 Southern homes, in the Carolinas and Mississippi, and and they talk about, this house was built in 1840. The Atlantic used to be that magazine for the East Coast elites, but
Gotcha.
over time, it just got less and less of that. No hunting articles, no home articles. It's just bang, 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 bang against the conservatives.
Yeah. So it's turned out to be a libtard dish rag again. Just yeah.
Well, and that's the reason why it survives. Is because the liberal northeasters will pay the subscription to have the app, and right?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What if you
I don't
already
know.
know
What do you mean, Sean?
So, it usually doesn't get delivered as a magazine anymore. It's an app now.
Right?
Okay. And you're paying like $30 a month to have access to their garbage just because you enjoy their articles beating up on the Orange Man and the maggots.
That's my whole point. If you know what's being mostly said or stated in that magazine, and you don't believe it, and nor does anybody else, why are you buying it? Why are you even reading it? You're going to put your faith and trust in something like that? Really?
Right.
Might as well watch CNN.
Because they support the ideology, and so they want to support the organization. That's why they do it. I'm not saying it's right. It's not something
that wouldn't be my thinking, but
to.
Yeah, okay.
But I guess there's free speech people that pay for X subscriptions just to support Musk.
Yes. He doesn't need the help, but okay.
So Edward, let me ask you this: Is there a magazine? So here in Texas, we have something called Texas Monthly, and it's equal parts historical data, equal parts Texas menus, food and stuff, and equal parts like feral hogs they'll do a thing on and it's stuff, but it's regional. You know what I mean? It's a monthly magazine that's regional to Texas about this, that, and the other. It doesn't really get that political. Is there something the equivalent of that in Canada where they have, a magazine that's like, oh, in Alberta, we're, caribou hunting and
you know what? There probably is. I mean, there's cottage life and stuff like that, but I'm thinking Maclean's is probably the nationwide magazine that it's all political. It's just another, left wing publication that I couldn't make it through it because again, the people writing it, you really got to trust them. And
Sure.
the stories I've got out of there, oh my God, no, I just can't do it. I can't get through one, so yeah, I'm not doing it. But yeah, there
Yeah,
are,
I got it. Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I'm trying to think, and it might cross the border. Something like Great Lakes Living, that just talks about the things around the Great Lakes, and this mansion you can right. It's a bed and breakfast now. Was built in
yeah.
1833. Here's the phone number if you want to stay there.
And that's more towards the cottage life I was just talking about. So
Okay.
there's that, and yeah, there's going to be a couple other ones, but nothing that really sticks out that's that popular. Not that I know of. Then again, I'm not really a magazine guy. Not a magazine guy at all. Never have been. It's just to me,
Right.
some of the ones I did, pay attention to. Uh, Time magazine, that's a loser. None of them. And Maclean's, rating the universities, who's got the top university in the country, or even in the nation, actually in the continent, really, in the West. More nonsense. I mean, how they grade that stuff is
Right.
ridiculous. I
Yeah.
mean, the more foreigners you let in, the more points you get. Well, good for you, but that's not what I'm grading myself on education. But that's how they're going to do it. So I just lost all faith in that. It's just stupid. So yeah, dropped it. Got out of
Well,
it.
I remember in the 80s and the early 90s, Rolling Stone was a fantastic article magazine.
Yeah, it's a libtard one too, though.
What happened? They went woke, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I will say too, Sean, Mother Earth in the
Yes.
early days, it was, about Birkenstocks and growing food without hormones and,
Right.
doing that kind of thing. Yeah.
Occasionally a science article or a technology
Yeah.
article. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was such magazines. I did used to read, what was it, Omni, I guess it was, more science and tech, that type of thing. That I found interesting, but there was a whole lot to choose from, really. So yeah, stuff that would interest me. You can get online anyways now. You can just read it, just search for it and get whatever you want now. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
no buying anything. So,
Yeah.
Which is why I don't read anything from the Atlantic. I just am aware of who they are.
Yeah.
And that Goldberg is just an absolute hack. He's the guy who smeared Russiagate.
Yeah.
He's the one that was broadcasting that. There was another one. Oh, the laptop. The laptop that is Russian disinformation.
yeah,
That's the guy. So anything to hurt Trump. That's all
Trish
he
did bring that
does.
name up. Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
he's the top editor there. So
And
all things go through him.
here's a piece of shit that says Waltz uh, announced an undercover CIA agent's name. Right? He literally looked into the camera and said,
Right.
"Yeah, this was an undercover agent that they said on that signal text." And of
Really?
course, Mike comes back and goes, "No, that was my chief of staff, uh, not a field agent,
Right.
an admin. You fucking
Yep.
shit."
Nope. Correct.
All he could do is lie. So, right. So we got on the left, Goldberg's a hero. Also on the left, we need to imprison Edward Snowden.
Why?
Dude, he's been hiding in Russia forever because they want to
know.
lock him up for sharing classified secrets. And
That's not exactly how I understood it, but all right.
Signal group, right? He was a whistleblower. You could make the claim that that he was. You could make a lot of claims have been made about him. My only point is, right?
Well-
one reporter's leaking information, and that's good. Another reporter leaks information, and that's bad.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's where we're at. How do you feel about Julian Assange, for example? He didn't do any, as far as I'm concerned, didn't do anything wrong. Why are they after him? So there's another thing.
Same
so-
reason, because it was egg all over the U.S. government's face. He did nothing wrong. He wasn't the leaker. He was just he published the information that was leaked to him.
we shouldn't use the U.S. itself, certain parts, certain branches of it, yes, I agree, it did look bad on them, but that's not the U.S.'s fault. That's that organizations' fault to deal with. And they should have been dealt with a little more strictly than what they did. They kind of just blew the whole thing off. Now, I'm sure many people feel the same way, but I'm just saying,
Yep.
right?
Oh,
Paul,
yeah.
don't you think that's true, Paul? Like, you don't think they should have done something a little more,
Oh yeah. Oh,
heavy-handed, I guess, than
I
just
mean,
just
really,
ignore it?
there's so many smart people that you know, that just stood by and did nothing instead of saying,
Yeah,
"Hold on a minute, that's not how it works.
right.
It's really not how that thing goes. This is how it goes."
Yeah,
And I take exception to that because that it should be brought out.
I think a lot of us feel the same way from what happened back then, and what just throwing. You know what? I don't even know where Julian Assange. I think he stayed in Russia to begin with. Then he went to France afterwards. I can't remember where he was hiding out all these years. And I don't even know where he is right now. Do you guys? Is he in America now?
He was extradited to
Was
America.
he?
Yeah.
Oh, and so is he standing trial? What's going on? What are they doing to the guy
I haven't
for
heard.
what he didn't do?
I haven't heard. There was people have asked if Trump if he would pardon him, and Trump hasn't said yes or no. So yeah,
Huh.
good lord. I mean, you see pictures or video of him. Like they took his life from him.
Yeah,
He's just a shell of a man. You
I
know,
know.
stick and bones.
Yeah,
I know.
He aged 60 years in the last 15.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'd say so too. And he had quite a good life ahead of him. So just to do that, again, placing blame or
And then, that's how that things go. Because, you look at Sean at 22 years old and the thing he's had with the government, look what it's done to him.
Absolutely,
no, you look pretty good for
absolutely.
20.
What
Obviously, I look good for 22 myself, so that's just me. But I'm thinking good. Good for you.
when I went into the government, Edward, all of this was brown. All of it.
2
No
years
joke.
later, look at me.
I've got
I
the
know.
pictures. I've got the pictures to prove it.
Oh my gosh. Now, I don't think a government job. No, that's rather lax. You know what? My favorite definition, actually, even a joke. Why do government workers look out the window first thing in the morning? Anyone? Anyone? So they have nothing to do for the afternoon.
No!
One of my favorites. It's
Oh,
true. So yeah, that's why that didn't go brown. And then go from there to gray, being the government. No, disagree.
I mean, I did a lot of things like asking union facilities maintenance people to set up conference rooms for me because it was a union shop. I wasn't allowed to touch a table or move it or move a chair.
Correct. Yeah, don't you find that rather
I was
bizarre?
helping one of them secure the table together, and he goes, like when I first started, he goes, "Don't do that. You will get in so much trouble." I was like, "Are you kidding me? I can't
Yeah,
help you move a table." Nope, it's got to be
no,
done by union labor, or you're
I
taking
know.
away somebody's job.
That's getting a little bit more ridiculous because if you can do a job without having to go through any programs or training or education, and you can just do it, why do you need a union? Why do you need a union to say deliver mail? Why do you need a union for stuff like you just talked about? That's getting kind of silly. Even just being a plain laborer, you don't need a union for that because anybody can do the laboring. But it's a non-educated job or trade. There's nothing to it. So therefore, they should be just ordinary people, ordinary jobs. Anybody can fill it, except of course a foreigner.
So,
Ah,
Sure.
Edward, I got to tell you, back in my law enforcement days, I was a lieutenant at a small agency in Central Florida, and I made $985 a month. Is like $14.50 an hour. And Daytona was the closest, larger agency next to us, and they were union. And of course, they came across and tried to make us union. They made us union.
Of course.
Teamsters,
Ah,
Teamsters union, by the way. So that rubbed me the wrong way. But at $985 a month, I had to give $70 a month to the union to not do anything for me to help me
Right.
or anything.
I know.
It doesn't save anybody. You can fire union staff if you do it the right way, like you would do with any other employee. You follow whatever the process is written out in the employee handbook, right? So, right, all it does is take money from you now at this point. In their inception, there was a good cause for unions, but there's at least at government level, it should be banned. There should be no
Yeah.
government employee unions.
You
It's
know,
ridiculous.
you know, and this goes back to my point in our country. 25% of the entire workforce is government employed, and they all work for unions. So only
25%?
gains, yeah, 25%, one quarter. That's how much our government's been growing year after year with this libtard,
Wow.
libtard um administration at the helm. It's been growing bigger and bigger. Of course, it's spending more money too, but yeah, I'm dead set against that. One quarter. So if the government says jump and vote for this, guess who they're voting for? And they even give them the whole day off to vote. So of course they're going liberal because they're promising all these, fantastic raises, more money for you people, let the rest of the country work for you type of thing. So that's what's going on. And you know what? If you look at the disabled people, the welfare people, I call them too, that are on whatever that disability. No, it's not even disability. It's just, don't want to work type of welfare mindedness. You're up to about almost half the whole country. So that's what we're competing against.
Is it
And when
really?
we're voting in somebody new, you have to overcome that big, huge slot of people to get anybody new in. It's almost impossible. So that's why, and I don't even know if, say, the Trump administration even knows all that. When they talk about Canadians and voting and what it takes to, like when we had the Freedom Convoy and the rallies we had and held before that, they were
Yeah.
huge. Yeah, everybody would, be commenting on, stupid statements, making fun of people, like, God, I'm not out there. Why would they be doing that? Like, this is our freedom we're fighting for, and they have no comprehension of what's that. Oh, what do you mean freedom? Because they need that government check, so of course they have to turn the other cheek and do something different and say something different because they don't want to lose that. So of course they're going to be
Wow.
against you or a conservative because they don't want to lose that free money, and either do the unions, so they want to keep that going. That's why they have to have them vote and go to the union meeting and say, vote for this guy because of this, whether it's true or not. And this is where we find ourselves in this mess. So I'm dead set against the unions today and the unnecessary. I guess I'm for the ones that have some form of education where you just can't get it or read it out of a book, I guess. But other than that, I think the churches did their job back in the late 1800s and got rid of child slavery. There was the churches that got not the unions. Everybody says, "Oh, the unions didn't." No, they didn't. It was the churches that did all
Sure.
that, not
Yeah.
the unions. But people will use that and say that, even though it's untrue. But it was the churches that did that and got rid of all that unfair activity that was going on with, well, child slave labor and everything else that goes with that. So yeah, so I'm dead set against that, even though I have been a union member for God, years and years. But
So,
just seeing
Edward,
it, yeah,
so uh, um, let's say the construction industry, you know, framer,
uh-huh,
framers,
right.
concrete guys, block layers, are they all union as well?
Now, a good amount of them are, but no, it's pretty much gone now where we've had that big fight on you can't refuse a man's right to work argument in the courts. So the union's been losing a lot of room in the last, I'm going to say, a good 20, 25 years now.
Oh,
So
okay.
with that
Yeah.
on their side, so now it's kind of, but in some things, the bigger jobs, it's almost impossible not to have a union company because they're the big ones. The biggest companies are the union ones. So if you have a car plant to build, you're not getting non-union because you're never going to get the guys or the educated ones to do the job to begin with, where the union is going to supply them because, well, it's just a clique of guys that have, a certain dollar amount they get an hour, and they're all happy with that, and they just everybody knows that, so they're comfortable with it, and they do it. So I can understand why, because I don't want to get off on a tangent here as far as the unfairness of how a communist system comes
Sure.
into being, because
Yeah.
in the trades, the electricians were always the worst paid because it's the easiest job. You're not sweating as much. You don't have as much to know, and so because of that, they were always the worst paid. But then we started going for, because the school teachers back in the early 70s wanted to be unionized with the police and all the rest of these firemen, everybody else wanted their own unions now to jack the wages up. Then we made twice as much as a school teacher. Now they make the same as us. Postal workers, people that deliver the mail, made a lot less. Now they're almost making the same as us. Everybody's trying to earn the same. So like I said back in union meetings a long time ago, I said, what's going to happen? We're all going to make the same money. The guy picking up garbage in the morning, the dentist, the sheet metal worker, the carpenter, the electrician, the nurses, the doctors are all going to make the same amount of money an hour. That's what it's all, and people can't see it. Even though I've been saying that for a long time now, there's no parity, there's no fairness, there's no nothing. It's everybody gets the same no matter how much they do. So just walking around for 4 hours a day, you're going to make the same amount of money as a doctor. Well, that's communism. That's what it is. So,
Well, and
I don't know.
that's what all the liberals in the West want, right? That's what
Never
they're all
works though.
pushing for.
I know, and I've been listening to these same arguments for decades now, and I'm just sick of it because of the lack of reasonability to where that all ends up. And I guess they just don't care because as long as they're making their $100 an hour, they don't care about anybody else. And that's, I guess, my whole point. That's that callous indifference I can't stand about people. That hey, I'm getting my $100 an hour. I don't care what happens to you, guy. You fight and get your own deal going. I got mine. That's all I care about. Get lost. And this is where we are. So
Well,
I don't like
and
that.
that's when you see it, right? Then people just do the absolute bare minimum to not get fired too, right? So
Oh,
you're talking about a wire puller. It's gonna
yeah,
take
yeah.
him it's gonna take him 9 months to pull wires on a freaking warehouse building.
Yeah. Oh no. Hey, I've seen it. I know what you're saying. Yeah. So this is what irks me about the whole thing. The whole system is it's it can't go on. It won't survive, and we find ourselves. We've hit the wall now. We can't go any further with where we are unless we get some accountability, saying, "Hey, look at you know what? You've been as union members, been riding off the coattails of people that actually gone on strike for higher wages. Now you just want to come on board and make the same retarded. So we have to dial back a lot of professional people. And I've always used this as my argument. As a matter of fact, short little story. I was in a space, oh God, last year, 2 years ago, about this conversation of firemen came up because this guy, got ousted. I guess they, couldn't get along with him. Anyways, I was saying, well, that's okay because in smaller communities and some of the bigger ones, and what's his name there? I can't remember his name now, was given a story on this. Yeah, I agree with that. The firemen are way too overpaid. And this guy just explodes on me saying, what? We do 15,000 calls, a year. I'm thinking, yeah, you're all burning bodies of a building, or you're just rescuing cats from a tree. Like, let's be honest here. Is it just going to be another dud false alarm, or are you actually doing something all day? So I said, hey, look at if you had applications for a fireman that they're looking to hire, or the guy out in the field baking his ass off all day for 10 hours a day picking peppers, which one are you going to apply for? That's the guy that gets the most money. Get my point?
no,
But so it's
no,
true.
no. You have
The
to
guys.
say
way overpaid because the guy picking the vegetables under that sun all day, there's nowhere to hide. There's no shade to go to. I mean, like he's in the sun all day long picking peppers, and it's hot. You know, I don't know if most people even know what that's like to be out in the sun all day long. Not that they can just, jump into the lake, and come back, refreshed, in a few minutes. No, you're there all day, no tree to hunt. No, you're there under the sun all day long. Now, if you had those jobs, who do you think would get the most applications filled out? Certainly not the guy picking the vegetables. It'd be the fireman or the policeman or something like that. Well, actually, the policemen do have just a bit more. Hey, Paul's right here. Oh, not really police, but anyways, there's so much more to know and do and be responsible for than your average job. Dealing with people always is a pain in the. Well, I don't have to tell you that, do I? But yeah, we're talking about him today. But yeah, so that guy is highly, highly underpaid for what he has to do, comparatively speaking to the letter carrier or the fireman or anything else that's going on today. And that's what we have to actually use our heads to say, hey, wait a minute, these guys really, it's unfair all the way around. And that's why I think we have to oust the unions and get rid of the unions and have some common sense come back. And then we'll see who gravitates toward what job. Because that's what it's going to come down to.
Well, all right, I want to talk about the Postal Service for a second. Why are we still pretending we had just won the War of 1812 and we're carrying letters by pony? Why are we sending letters anymore? Why don't we just send parcel and everything else goes digital? And if you're one of the people that didn't get connected by Buttigieg, I'm sure the government can get a contract with Starlink and have you guys up and running in about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, why are you don't have to sign anything with wet ink anymore. Why are we sending letters that require a signature? Why are we sending bills via email? Right, and political advertising.
Well, because certain government entities, and in my case, the Veterans Administration, they do everything by mail, and they send you a form, you sign it, you scan it, and you email it back to them, or if you don't have that ability because they think you're in Appalachia and you don't have that ability,
right?
You sign it, put it in a return envelope, and mail it back to them.
So right, and
so that's the main thing, Sean, is that there are certain areas of government where they're just not up to speed.
We need to spend the money to get them updated computer system.
Yes.
Right?
I was spent 7 hours in Shreveport at the Overton VA. My wife and I, she wanted to go with me because she wanted to go to the big mall in Shreveport.
Sure.
And, but we didn't get a chance to do that because we were inside the walls of the VA all freaking day.
Right.
Right? It was unbelievable.
But it's all fixable. It's just that these agencies don't want to change. Right? We've talked about this with when they buy software packages. Say it's an enterprise resource planning they need, right, to pay their bills. That's basically what our ERPs do. They put these customized requirements in it because they want this brand new, awesome system that works so fast to work exactly like their 30-year-old system that doesn't work. And you're constantly having to call a software engineer because you're like, why can't I make this payment? It's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I spent all this time getting signed. So I had signed up online.
Yeah.
And thought I had that behind me. And then when I went to Shreveport, they're like, who are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm Paul Gantz, 7757. That's my last four of my social. And they're like, yeah, we got no record of you. And I'm like, fucking 2 months ago, I signed up to VA.com benefits and I did all that. Yeah, we don't, you need to go down there and see Ms. Abercrombie. So
Right.
I sat there for 90 minutes. What's your name again?
Oh yeah.
What's
Yeah.
your home address? What's your social security? And I'm like, ma'am, all due respect, I did this online 2 months ago.
Right.
Yeah, but did you get a multiplex demodulator when they asked for a perambulating socially? And I'm like, I don't know what those words mean.
Right. So they bid out to have this online portal, but the portal's not connected to the
Yeah, the
mainframe
portal's
at the
not
VA.
right. So now I'm connected to the Shreveport Overton VA, which they told me. I said, look, Longview is right down the road from me. And they go, okay, Longview is a satellite branch. If you go to Longview and don't get what you need, and you have to come to Shreveport for Overton for that, it's different than if you come to Overton first and we allow you to go to to Longview.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not sure I understand the words coming out of your mouth. And I haven't been in a fist fight in probably 20 years. But I gotta tell
We're coming up to
you,
it.
but Shaniqua, I'm fixing to beat your fucking ass. I don't know what you're saying.
You know what gets me about this whole thing? You know, when you're filling this form out online, they didn't have the presence of mind to include that or tell you, make you aware of what you needed beforehand. If you can't say, hey, you need the flux core capacitor, you know, to make this car or this run.
Right.
You say, oh, I know, okay, I know
Right.
what you need now. I need the flux core capacitor, then it's all going to come together, but I don't got it. But I'm going to go get it, and then I'm going to do this form again. But they don't tell you that. They make you go through all that work for probably another 90 minutes online doing these forms and then realize, well, it's not going anywhere because I didn't have the flux core capacitor. So, yeah.
The thing is, what's the worst part of what, like, if you work in one of these government agencies, each department just works in its own silo. Nobody else knows what you're working on. So if you were part of the communications team that was building out the online portal, nobody else has a clue that there's an online portal. They all work in silos doing their own things.
But the person that came up with these
no agency communication whatsoever. No stupid monthly email that says, hey, here's what we did this month. Nothing.
If that's the case, though, Sean, why would the person that's developing the forms, that's creating the forms to put online, they didn't know that? They couldn't think of that thing. Well, this is only going to go to like 60 people that's going to get these in this area that's aware of this. The rest, no idea, no clue.
They're
so
not
what's the point of doing it?
They're not focused on serving a customer. They're only focused on whatever task they were assigned and how long they have, if it's 90 days or 180 days to write this website. It's all
they got the top.
And then when I got registered with the VA in Shreveport, and I said, can I go online now and do my thing? And they said, oh, yeah, absolutely. And we would recommend that you set up a medical appointment so that we can, get you further into the system. And I said, but I can do that online at va.gov. Oh, absolutely. I said, okay, because I've already registered at va.gov. So I go back home, get on the laptop, go to va.gov, and they go, well, we need second authentication. And I'm like, okay, give us your mobile number. I put in my mobile number. They're like, we don't recognize that mobile number.
God.
And I'm like, I've already I've already got a username and password. Why do
Right.
you what are you doing? And they're like, yeah, you got to do something else because we can't let you into your VA benefits.
Now, do you see how silly this whole thing sounds? You know, they got something up and running without it being connected to anything to do any good. So what's the point of
Right,
having it? It's like having a cart out in the field, sitting there loaded, but no horse to take it anywhere. So it's
right.
useless. It's like having a brand new car, but you can't. There's no gasoline stations around to put gas in it. So that $90,000 car is absolutely worthless because it can't go anywhere. It's $0. The value is now zero, and it's too small to sleep in, so it's even worse than that because now it's taking up space. So you might as well just burn it and get rid of it. So yeah,
The
90,000 bucks.
most frustrating part, right, is Trump's in there. He brings in Musk's team to do this. It's not just about cutting fraud and waste. It's about improving the IT systems and
Yeah,
hooking
Yeah,
yeah.
everybody up.
streamlining.
And
Right,
and all you hear everybody do is squeal like pigs.
right.
No, you can't.
I
Yeah.
know.
We've
'Cause-
always done it this way. Is the
And
number one
yeah,
motto I hear at government, and it's just insane. You're like,
and
there's
that's what
so many
that's
better ways to do this.
that very statement right there. We've always done it that way. That doesn't make it right. So you've been doing it wrong all this time, and you don't want to keep doing it wrong because you're so used to it. And this, that, I just can't even stand that type of thinking. Well, we've always done it this way. Hey, yeah, you've been doing it wrong for 20 years. You want to learn how to do it right now? I mean, no, not
Right?
really.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And and my wife was, Tanya's like, I'm a Serb. I don't have a dog in this hunt. You point out somebody to me, and I'll slit their throat. I don't give a fuck.
Right?
And I'm like, easy, killer. We got to work through this. She goes, no, we don't. We just got to cull the herd.
Uh-huh. And that's, you
Edward,
know what?
was
What's that?
sorry, about 5 or 6 years ago, we went through, and I was one of the project managers on it. This was with Transit Authority, right? We were still people that wanted to buy something. It had to go through central purchasing. Okay, that's what the CFO wanted, but we were still making them use paper requisition forms
Huh.
and walk them down to our department, which was locked. Nobody could get into our department unless you worked at our department. And so I took the time when we were implementing this ERP. I said, we're going to go digital on everything. And I went around, had meetings with all the department heads, and I said, how do you want to be able, do you want to just be able to get into the ERP and say, I need 10 reams of paper, I need 400 brake shoes, and about 300 of this specific oil filter? Yeah, that's what we want. I was like, I'm going to make it happen for you. And they were like, oh, it used to take us a month to get a ream of paper because it was all on a
I
paper
know.
requisition form that would get sent back to them if one of our union purchasing agents said it was filled out wrong. So I literally eliminated the need to have union purchase representatives. I just digitized the entire workflow.
No.
So
Hey,
it went to a contract
perfect.
specialist, which those are salary. They said, "Yeah, you've got it in your budget. Everything checks. Order. It'll be here." And then you send them an email back. It'll be here tomorrow. Here's the ETA email.
And you don't think we need more guys like that will do that, not just in companies, but also government jobs as well, or heads of different organizations that'll do that same, streamline the whole thing. See where, the manufacturing process of this plant here is slowing down and coming to a stop at this point right here. Let's fix that so we can get everything flowing again. And not only that, let's go back and make it super fast now. If we can reorganize this and streamline the whole thing so we got speed, and also accuracy at the same time. But it seems to me that mediocrity again seems to be the call of the West anymore. And it never used to be, but we always strove or strived for excellence in everything we did when I was growing up. Now it'll do. It's good enough. Good enough for around here type of attitude, and that's where we find ourselves, and it's a shame.
I was able to eliminate $80,000 worth of union employment from my department because I took that job away from them. They knew they were gatekeepers too, and if there was people they didn't like, they'd purposely reject that paper requisition
Oh yeah,
and send it
Really?
back. And right,
Yep.
I'd have to go sit them down through the write-up process with the union representative, with a lawyer from HR. But
God,
you had
yeah.
to get to like 10 of these in a year to fire them, so they get to 9 and then knock it off, and then start over again the next year. So I just eliminated the position by automating the whole process.
And
I said,
Wow.
sorry, ladies.
now you know what?
You could take a different position. We have facilities maintenance available. I mean, grab a mop or retire. They retire.
You know what? Computers don't have feelings. So
No.
I mean, it makes it so much better as far as dealing with on the human element you just talked about. As far as somebody doesn't like somebody, doesn't like the way they dress, or who knows what it could be. Who cares? The fact is, computers don't go through that. They just take the information or the order, break it down, make it happen, send it off, and then get it done. They don't have this silly
Right.
gamesmanship that so many
Exactly
people.
right. Yeah.
And
A silly human pride thing that we're all.
And I could within 10 minutes, I could run a report for a congressman, a senator, anybody about the entire history of our purchasing, which I couldn't do before because it was paper.
Yeah.
Right. It would take us
Exactly.
months to go through an audit before that. I could get a report to them customized in 10 or 15 minutes once I automated it.
And this is the way the country's got to end up, where the libtards got to stop screaming bloody murder because there's changes coming. Hey, wait a minute, people. This is for our own good. You can still have a job, maybe, but we got to get to this and get rid of this ridiculousness that so many governments and companies face all the
Right.
time, with the people falling down at the job. And it's usually the
Yep.
people, the heads of the organizations, that don't understand what they're doing. They're the ones that fault for not making sure that the whole thing operates seamlessly. So yeah, there's a blame right there, but who wants to take accountability for that? Not them. Not me either. It's not my fault. Not
Hey,
me.
listen, if my state actually starts a Doge Commission, I'm probably going to apply to it because I just gave you my resume on doing it once.
There you go. Yeah, hey, no. Correct.
Right?
Good one.
So there. I'll just say, hey, go to Orange Podcast Bad episode 4 at about the 40-minute mark, and I'll explain how I doged an entire finance department in a government agency.
Doged them. That's good. I love that. I gotta steal that term. Let's doge this department right now so we can get
Those
it
these
streamlined.
bitches.
No.
We're gonna doge this bitch. So
Love that term.
I saw this crazy post this morning before I left for work, and it said something to the effect of European leaders are asking their citizens to get at least 3 days worth of food, medicine, and water available because they believe war with Russia bad, right? And I looked at it, dude.
Are you
It's the
kidding?
funniest. So I put this comment in there, and I can't, dude. It's just I'm still getting notifications, and that was from this morning that said, or Ukraine could just hold elections. All the Ukraine bros have been blowing me up. Just you maggots, you don't understand. They can't hold elections. It's unconstitutional. I said, amend the Constitution.
Hello.
Right?
Yep.
Like I've been
I know.
watching while we were on the podcast. I've been watching. I just keep getting more. Let me see if I can find what. Oh, I cleared it. There was like I must have got 10 calling me a fascist and a Nazi. Because how dare Ukraine hold elections?
Yeah.
All right. Like some of them, I even commented back. I was like, the United States. Well, they said, well, they're at war. I said, well, then hold the elections at nightclubs.
Yeah, there you go.
Those seem to be perfectly safe.
And
Right?
you know what? You can still, for what's going on over there right now, it's quiet on the Russian front. I'm telling you that right now. They can do it now. It's not a big deal. Why Zelensky? Well, I know why he did it.
I
But go,
bet you. I bet you the house. Putin
what?
would. I bet you the house. Putin would go absolutely gun silent that day because he wants a regime change there too.
Well, yeah, of
It
course.
just
And you know what?
it'd be like,
Yeah,
yeah, go vote. We won't do anything to you today.
Yeah,
no.
hundred
And you know what?
percent, dude.
He'll rise up in the polls and be the favorite too. By the way, a lot of Russians there. A lot
There
love
are a
them.
lot of Russians there.
Uh huh. So yeah, I agree.
And the other idea I came up with this morning that I thought was a great idea, like everybody's complaining about Trump taking Greenland away from Denmark, right? I was like, you know what?
They are.
What if we
They are.
what if
Oh,
what if we make a trade? We'll swap. We'll take Greenland from Denmark and we'll give Denmark Cook and DuPage counties, which is Chicago, and turn Illinois red. We'll just trade. Tradesies. You could have
there.
Chicago. We're taking Greenland.
So now I know what you meant by the Chicagoland mark. Now I thought you were talking about. Yeah, all right, that makes sense now.
So,
Uh-huh.
I mean, it sounds perfect.
Oh, 100%, dude. That makes sense.
Uh-huh.
I mean, and if you need a passport to get back out of Chicago, maybe you shouldn't go to Chicago.
Correct. Yeah. Isn't that just the most libtarded city, almost state you could say?
Well,
Just Chicago
and their
alone.
population
Wow.
is so massive that they control the entire state, which is a rural farming state. It's a very Republican state.
Yeah.
But since
know.
I can't remember, 8 or 9 million people live in those two counties, right? There's no way to beat them.
I know. Remember that girl that was running? I
Ashley
forget her. What?
Ramos.
That's
Ashley
it.
Ramos.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Didn't have the money, the firepower to stay, and I think it was a District 2 or something she was in on the. It was almost partially Indiana and
Yeah,
the
it was
Chicago City
it was
Center. I can't remember what the
yeah,
district that was. Is
DuPage
it
County, so south of the Loop
right?
of the
Right.
Chicago Loop.
And she didn't go very far. I mean, she did okay for not having any support from
Yeah.
that dingbat that was looking after the RNC. What was her name now? Rona McDaniels, I think. I can't remember. I think it
Oh,
was her.
yeah, Rona Romney. Who,
And yeah, and she
Trump
gave
told
out
her to
zero
change her
money
last
to.
name.
Yeah, and you know what? She should have, for tough places, in like she was in a tough spot. She deserved the extra money, for the advertising and whatnot. But she never got any, so she still did okay for what she had to work with, which was nothing. So yeah, like you said, you ain't. Unless you got deep pockets, you're not winning anything there. Oh my gosh, which is a shame.
I think we should promote my idea. I think this is a fair trade. And I think the people of Illinois, at least when I posted that comment, the people of Illinois are like, this is a fantastic idea, and we wholeheartedly support it. Sell Chicago to the Danes, and we'll take that money and buy Greenland with it.
Let's get on the phone, Paul. Get on the phone to Trump and see if we can. It'll fly, would you, Mr. President? We got a fantastic idea. Hear me out. No, don't hang up.
No, let me reach out to him real quick. See what he says. He's my boy.
Right? Well, I know JD uses Signal, so I'll send him a message on there.
Yeah. Signal. Oh my god,
dude! So many people have it. I have it. It's a common
Signal?
app.
Really?
So my son is, Sean. He's 82nd Airborne at Fort Bragg, and he introduced me to Signal like years ago. When he first came on, he's like, "Dad, this is how we have to communicate," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And so I signed up for a Signal account, and he reaches out to me and says, "Hey, you got time to chat?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then, so sometimes he'll reach out to me on Signal and then go, "Hey, let's do a Teams call so we can look at each other and stuff." You know what I mean? If it's just father and son hanging out and stuff. But yeah, all of his mates and all the people he works with have the Signal app downloaded on there. That's the preferred encrypted way to communicate.
Well, and that's why it is. It's encrypted end to end. So like the talking faces on the TV, right? They're all screaming that one of the guys was in the signal group was in Russia at the time, and so Russia hacked it. You can't. Russia.
You
I look.
can't.
It's encrypted when it leaves the device.
It's encrypted. He could be in Russia and do it. It doesn't matter. Nobody can get into it.
Right.
Oh my
That was the whole
God.
beauty.
That
Yeah,
was
that
the
was the
whole
whole
point.
beauty of. Yeah, BlackBerry had that before they sold that out to China, Nortel Networks, back in Canada. Back, oh God, that was 20 something years ago now. But yeah, that's why BlackBerry had the market, because it was encrypted. You couldn't break into it. You couldn't decode it. And that's what they didn't want us to have. Something that we couldn't decode. They wanted to know what we were saying. In writing back and forth. So that's why BlackBerry didn't go very far. China bought it though. So their stuff, yeah, of course they want their stuff
Edward,
hidden, but not ours. Oh
Edward,
God.
let me ask something.
Yeah.
You have a Nokia flip phone, or you on?
Nokia. Didn't that go out? Oh God, those flip things like about 50.
Remember
Doesn't it
those,
be?
dude?
Dude, you could
Yeah.
drive over them with a tank
I
and then
love
pick it
them.
up and make a phone call.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, when I go to the Balkans, I get me a Nokia flip phone with a SIM card and a local phone number, and that's how I
Hell
communicate.
yeah.
Is that true? For real?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Really? Wow.
Oh, I don't
What's
use my iPhone when I'm in the Balkans. Not at all.
oh?
It's not safe.
I get you now.
Right.
So really, that is a good for you. For yeah, well, I got to keep that in mind. Not that I really need it for anything. For what I do. But,
I did like the tactile keyboard though. I wish iPhone would give you an option for a tactile keyboard, right, where you could actually
Yeah,
feel
that'd
the
be
physical
cool.
buttons.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
what do you mean?
There was physical keys for the letters on the Blackberries. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
there was. Yeah,
Yeah, it was a QWERTY
but why would you
board
want
on
that
a
though?
BlackBerry.
I liked it because I could type blind. I didn't have to look and see, am
Oh,
I hitting the
yeah,
right?
yeah. No,
Am
no,
I
I
hitting the
got you
right
now.
thing on the
I
screen?
understand. Yep.
Right, because I could type without I could type on a computer without looking, so I could do it on a mini keyboard
Right,
with
yeah.
two thumbs. It was
I can't
way
type very
better,
well.
way better experience than these touchscreen keyboards.
Doesn't matter what I'm using. I'm not very good at typing, so it doesn't matter to me. I can type like 2 words a minute. Not well, but I can do it. There'll be all kinds of spelling mistakes. I'll get them.
I do. Yeah, 7th grade. It was a class we took all year long.
Yeah.
Typing.
Yep.
Yeah, when we grew up, there's a whole, yeah, it's a loss. No one even does that anymore. I don't even know if they even teach that because kids are learning how to type when they're like grade 3. No, 3 years old. Never mind grade 3.
Oh, it's 3 years old. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So,
they've got a
yeah,
tablet in their hand and they don't know what show they want to watch, so they type it in.
it's true. Yeah, so there's no typing classes now because they already know that before they even get to kindergarten. So there's no point. They'd be teaching the teachers. Oh, they'd be faster at typing than they are.
With
So,
2 fingers,
yeah.
right?
That's how I'm doing it. Yeah, the 2 fingers. Yeah.
But I can't stand this. Look, we're going to wrap it up here in a second, but I cannot stand how many times I'll be trying to type a word and I hit the wrong letter.
Yep.
But I'm like, it's right there.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
These digital keyboards are awful. They're awful. The
I hate
touchscreen.
it. Yeah.
Yes.
Even if you get close, it's not going to come out right. So yeah, I know. And if you got bigger fingers and whatnot, it's just harder to fumble around with those things because, let's face it, the Chinese and Japanese have much smaller hands. They can just do so many better things than us. We can't. It's just impossible for us to do some of the things the producers can't use.
Look,
Yeah.
I am totally okay with an iPad-sized phone with a tactile keyboard on it. I don't care how ridiculous it looks. It'll work perfect for me.
Nope, I'm with you. I hear you.
Walk around with the iPad on my ear talking to people.
Well, we should have that option at least, anyways. So I agree. They
Right?
should come out with that. Oh my God.
So I got to tell you guys an anecdote.
All
My
right.
my older brother, bless his heart, rest in peace. I was trying to teach him about Siri,
Oh
and
yeah.
doing that, right? And I
Yep.
swear to God, he would do this. He'd go, Siri, this is George Gant. I would like for you to tell me how to get to the VA in Shreveport.
I can't translate it.
I mean,
Right?
You're
You're like,
he would. I'm like, bro, you don't need to identify yourself.
no.
Just go, hey Siri.
Just tell it what you want, right?
You know, but every time he would announce his name. This is George Gant. So it was like Siri was like, oh well, hell, this is Mr. Gant. We got to give him special attention.
I'll be right
You know?
on this. But remember now, out of respect, that's just how we did things when we were growing up. You always introduced yourself so everybody knew what was going on and who you were,
Right.
what was that.
Yeah.
So that's a normal thing, really. So I appreciate that. Now he might want to watch more Star Trek, where you're going, computer, Earl Grey, hot. No Captain Luke Picard. It's just that, right? Computer, Earl Grey, hot.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's all I want to know.
sure, dude.
Nothing more.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny, Paul, because Mom got a new car last year, and it's Apple Maps, Apple everything. It's a Toyota, so it's got the Toyota version if you want it.
Oh
And
yeah.
so
Yeah.
she'd never had CarPlay, so I'm like, she's like, where do I type in the GPS? I was like, you don't. Just say, Apple, take me home. Well, how does it know where I live? Because your phone has your address in it. When you put it in when you set up your phone,
And it knows your voice.
it knows your voice. I was like, and she's like, no way. I was like, just bark at it and tell it what you want to do. You don't have to type, because she had a GPS on the last car where she'd have to manually type in an address,
Oh yeah.
and it took 12 minutes, right, to finally
Wow.
find it. And I'm like, so I just sat in the car with her, and I was like, let's start barking at it. Hey, Apple, play me this song. Song comes on. What?
What? Yeah.
Right. Apple, take me to Black Mountain. Boom. Here's directions to Black Mountain. Map comes up. Start driving. At the end of the street, turn left. Right? She's just like it blew her mind. She's really good with it now. She yells at it all the time. But right, that first week or two, it was
That's
hilarious.
good. I'm like, hey Lexus, take me to a titty bar.
Right. And it says the closest one is 7.7 miles away.
Yeah.
It does. Is that the one you want to go to?
For
Yes.
better looking girls, go to this one down the. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Wait, yeah, well, Edward, you laugh, but you can say, read me the Yelp reviews.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
It'll do it.
Hey, take me to the one where there's not all kinds of single mothers.
Milk.
There is none.
Yeah.
That's it.
That went to the milk parade.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
All right.
geez.
Well, fellas, we hit it. Well, we went over a little bit. No worries. I had fun. I hope you guys had fun. I will
Absolutely.
start doing all the editing so we can get it over there on Spotify and YouTube for everybody. To everyone who's listening, I see we got people live on Rumble, live on Locals, live on Twitch. I can't tell on X right now. Thank you for listening. We will be back Monday. See you all then.
Peace out.
Boom. Thank you, folks.
Thank you. Thank you, boys.